Beloved gospel icon Donnie McClurkin, a voice that has lifted millions across the globe, was suddenly rushed to the emergency room after collapsing live on air in a frightening and unforeseen moment. Fans everywhere are shaken to their core. Friends are calling this a serious wake-up call, and many are now left asking the same chilling question. Is Donnie McClurkin's health in far greater danger than anyone had realized? Stay with me, because what we're about to reveal will leave you stunned. Donnie McClurkin is far more than just a gospel singer. He is a living legend, a pastor, and a beacon of hope whose music has carried countless souls through their darkest nights. From Stand Till We Fall Down, his songs have become anthems of faith and perseverance. But recently, that powerful voice was silenced in the most alarming way when Donnie suddenly collapsed during a live broadcast, sending shockwaves through the gospel community and leaving fans around the world deeply unsettled. In this video, we're going to unpack exactly what happened to Donnie McClurkin. We'll examine the moments leading up to his frightening collapse, what doctors and close friends are now saying, and the hidden health battles he has been quietly enduring behind the scenes. And trust me, what you're about to discover may completely change how you view the life and legacy of this gospel giant. Be sure to watch until the very end, because with each chapter, the story only becomes more intense. You won't want to miss the shocking details toward the conclusion details that many media outlets are not even reporting. Now, let's begin with the first chapter, the terrifying on-air collapse that left fans and colleagues completely stunned. It began like any other broadcast. Donnie McClurkin was lively, full of energy, speaking with the same passion that audiences have loved for decades. No one watching could have imagined that in just a few moments, the mood would shift from inspiration to utter panic. As Donnie continued speaking, those present noticed subtle changes. His voice slowed, his posture weakened, and then, without any warning, he collapsed. Gasps filled the studio. Crew members and colleagues rushed to his side, while viewers at home sat frozen in shock, unsure of what they had just witnessed. Emergency services were immediately called, and the broadcast cut off abruptly. Within minutes, paramedics arrived and rushed Donnie to the nearest emergency room. Reports described the scene as chaotic, with fans flooding social media, desperate for answers. Many feared the worst, terrified that the gospel world might be on the verge of losing one of its most legendary voices. What made this moment even more unsettling is the fact that Donnie has previously spoken openly about his health challenges. For many, this collapse didn't seem like a random accident. It felt like confirmation of long-held concerns. And while fans waited anxiously for updates, the silence from his team only added fuel to the growing speculation. Was this just a case of exhaustion, or was it a dangerous sign of something far more serious that Donnie has been battling quietly for years? This is where the story takes a deeper turn, because behind this collapse lies a history of health struggles that few truly understand, and what you're about to hear may shock you.
To grasp the true weight of Donnie McClurkin's collapse, we first need to revisit his journey, a path marked not only by musical victories and ministry achievements, but also by very personal struggles with his health. For years, Donnie has lived as an open book, openly sharing painful chapters of childhood trauma, long fights with depression, and the unwavering faith that pulled him through life's darkest valleys. What many don't fully realize, however, is that his physical health has been another long-standing battle. Decades ago, Donnie survived a horrific car accident that left behind lasting complications. That crash nearly claimed his life, and his recovery was both grueling and prolonged. Loved ones remember how he leaned heavily on faith to endure the suffering, but the strain it placed on his body was undeniable. Those closest to him say the wreck left more than just visible scars. It created a fragile health foundation that has continued to worry family and friends ever since. On top of that, Donnie's been open about frightening health scares with his vocal cords. For a singer, that's the equivalent of an athlete damaging their legs. At one point, he even revealed that doctors warned his voice might never fully return to its original strength. That admission sent shockwaves through his fans, many of whom couldn't imagine the gospel world without Donnie McClurkin's signature sound. Yet beyond the public revelations, there were also the silent battles that rarely make headlines. As Donnie grew older, the relentless schedule of traveling, preaching, concerts, and church duties gradually began wearing him down. Artists and pastors often show a brave face, but behind closed doors, stress and fatigue quietly accumulate. Friends recall how Donnie frequently pushed his body far past its limits, ministering tirelessly night after night, performing nonstop and then boarding a plane to the next city with barely any rest. Add to that the heavy responsibility of being a pastor, counselor, and mentor to thousands, and it becomes clearer why health experts warn the body eventually forces a breaking point. So, when Donnie suddenly collapsed on live television, his closest friends didn't view it as random. To them, it was the visible result of years of exhaustion, ongoing health complications, and perhaps deeper medical issues the public has yet to learn about. And although Donnie has always tried to calm fans by insisting he's fine, insiders suggest his condition is far more delicate than he often admits. That raises the critical question: is this latest collapse a dire warning of something much more serious? Because the truth is, these incidents rarely happen in isolation. They're usually symptoms of something brewing underneath. If that's the case, Donnie McClurkin's collapse may not just be a temporary scare, but a life-changing turning point, and this is where the story takes an emotional turn. Donnie's closest friends and fellow gospel artists have begun to speak out, and what they're saying about his health and lifestyle has left fans stunned. Some are calling this moment a wake-up call not only for Donnie, but for the entire gospel community. When news of Donnie McClurkin's sudden collapse and emergency hospitalization broke, the gospel world froze. Social media platforms immediately lit up. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram flooded with messages of shock, support, and prayer. Hashtags carrying his name began trending as fans desperately searched for any updates. But more than the public's reaction, it was the voices of Donnie's closest friends and fellow artists that truly revealed just how deep the concern ran. Several gospel leaders, many of whom have shared stages with him for decades, expressed not only heartbreak but also a sobering warning. One well-known pastor stressed that Donnie's collapse shouldn't be seen as just another random health scare. It should be treated as a wake-up call for every leader in ministry and music who is quietly burning out under relentless demands. He reminded fans that pastors and gospel artists, though they often look strong beneath the spotlight, are still human, and they too can push themselves to the edge of exhaustion. Another gospel singer who has traveled alongside Donnie on countless tours admitted that this moment wasn't entirely unexpected. She revealed that Donnie had been showing visible signs of fatigue for months, dropping weight, pushing through concerts despite being clearly drained, and at times even canceling events at the very last minute. She put it bluntly, Donnie pours so much of himself into others, but the real question is, who's pouring back into Donnie? That statement hit hard, sparking deeper conversations throughout the gospel community about the crushing expectations placed on spiritual leaders. Even inside his own church, members have quietly shared their concerns over the years. They describe Donnie as a leader who almost never says no. If someone calls him for prayer in the middle of the night, he shows up. If the church needs him on Sunday after a week of nonstop travel, he still preaches with full energy. If the industry reaches out, he answers without hesitation. To many, his commitment is admirable, but to his closest friends, it has now become a serious worry. This collapse, they believe, goes far beyond personal concern. It has sparked a much larger dialogue among gospel figures. Several bishops and pastors are now using the moment to emphasize the urgent need for balance, self-care, and prioritizing health. They argue that Donnie's frightening scare is not just about one man, but a reflection of a culture where spiritual leaders are pressured to sacrifice endlessly. With little rest, one bishop declared boldly, "If it can happen to Donnie McClurkin, it can happen to any one of us. We must pay attention." That wave of voices has shifted the narrative. While fans continue praying for Donnie's recovery, insiders are hoping he sees this as the divine sign to finally slow down. A few close friends have even hinted that Donnie could be standing at a major crossroads in his career: either continue at the same unrelenting pace and risk further danger, or take this as the moment to put his health first above everything else. And still, as these heartfelt messages spread, one question remained on everyone's mind: what exactly did the doctors say? What was the official medical explanation behind Donnie McClurkin's sudden collapse? When he was rushed into the emergency room, the entire gospel community held its breath in tense silence for hours. There was almost no information, just speculation, whispers, and countless prayers hanging in the air. Then at last, word began to surface. Doctors had managed to stabilize Donnie, but their findings left people both relieved and unsettled. Medical insiders close to the case revealed that his collapse was connected to a dangerous mix of exhaustion, dehydration, and stress-induced strain. Put simply, his body had hit its breaking point. While that might sound straightforward for someone like Donnie, whose life revolves around constant ministry, travel, and public demands, the implications are far more serious. This wasn't just an isolated incident, it was a red flag. 1. Doctor even reportedly warned his team that although Donnie had avoided a full-blown crisis this time, the next incident could be far worse. By choosing to show vulnerability, by openly admitting the cost of pushing himself too far, Donnie could very well inspire countless others to take their own health seriously before it's too late. For his fans, the collapse came as a shock, but it also served as a powerful reminder of just how much his presence means in their lives. Messages have been pouring in, not only filled with prayers for healing, but with heartfelt gratitude for the role his ministry and music have played across decades. Many see this as their chance to finally give back to him the same encouragement he has selflessly given them. Meanwhile, industry insiders are already asking the difficult question: what happens next? Will Donnie take a step back from touring? Will he scale down his pastoral responsibilities? Or will he continue on, but at a slower, more balanced pace? Some even believe this moment can mark the beginning of a brand new season in his career, one less centered on constant performances, and more devoted to mentorship, writing, and passing on wisdom to the next generation of gospel leaders. Whatever the outcome, one truth cannot be denied: this experience has already reshaped the way we view Donnie McClurkin. Not only as a gospel legend of towering influence, but also as a man who, like all of us, carries both strength and fragility. Conclusion. So what can we learn from Donnie McClurkin's sudden collapse and emergency hospitalization? First, it stands as a sobering reminder that no matter how strong or gifted someone may appear, health can never be ignored. Donnie's scare is a wake-up call not just for him, but for every leader, artist, and believer who gives endlessly without making time to care for themselves. Second, it highlights the depth of Donnie's impact. The overwhelming outpouring of love, prayer, and concern proves that his voice has not only entertained audiences, but touched and transformed lives. His legacy is secure not only in gospel music, but in the countless souls shaped by his story. And finally, it leaves us with a pressing question: will this incident mark the start of a much-needed slowdown, or will it ignite a renewed chapter of life and ministry for Donnie McClurkin? Only time can answer that. But what is certain is this: Donnie McClurkin's journey is far from over. His story is still unfolding, and if history tells us anything, it's that he has always found a way to rise again. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Donnie McClurkin will take this as a sign to slow down and focus on his health, or will he continue pressing forward with the same drive and intensity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video meaningful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories shaking the gospel and entertainment world. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay blessed.